Hi guys, okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do a super stretchy bind off on the loom. So this works great for the bottom of ribbed hats and wrist warmers and socks and anything you're going to want a stretchy bind off on. So let's get started. First thing you're going to do is wrap your yarn around your loom about 3 times. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, and that's going to give you a good amount of yarn to work with, and then I'm just going to give myself a little bit extra because I have special needs here. Alright, now you're going to thread this yarn end onto a yarn needle, and I like to use a bit of tape and just make sure that that can go nicely through a needle. I don't have to faff about with anything. Okay, and then we cut it off. Right. Okay, so this seems to be a little bit difficult to explain, and I'll do some diagrams as well. But you're essentially going to be working kind of back and forth on across 2 stitches. So we're going to have the left peg and the right peg of our 2 working pegs. This one is my last stitch, and this one is my first stitch sort of the next row. So when I started this brim, I started with this stitch. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with these 2 pegs being our left and our right peg. So that's the first stitch of the next row and the last stitch of the previous row. And what we're going to do is we're going to go down in the left peg, and then we're going to go up in the right peg. And just do it however you like. Sometimes this needle works really well in the divots on the pegs, sometimes not. Okay. And with this, you're going to snug it up a bit. You don't need to pull it too tight, but you also don't need to have it too loose, because this is going to just make a stretchy bind off itself. So these were our first 2. Now we're going to move to these next 2. Okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to go behind the right peg and down through the loop on the left peg. And when you pull your yarn, you want to make sure that it definitely goes behind the right peg and it doesn't go behind any other pegs. Okay, so this is our new right peg, right? We're going to go up the right hand peg. Okay, so that's those 2 pegs done. Now these are the next 2 pegs, okay? So we're going to go behind the right peg and down in front of the left peg. And again, we want to make sure that when we pull this tight, it stays behind the right peg, doesn't get caught on anything else. And then we go up the right peg. Okay, and so that's the 2 that we just worked. Now these are our next 2. So we go behind this right peg and down in front on the left peg. Up on the right peg. Okay, those 2 are done. Now we're going to move it over one, and we're going to go behind the right peg, down the left peg. So basically what was the left peg becomes the right peg. And you always go down through the loop on the left peg and up through the loop on the right peg. Okay. So maybe another way to do it is, so we've just done these, so go behind the next one, down into the next one. And then we go back. We go up. Back 1 peg and go up. Okay. Then we go behind the next one and down the next one. Okay, and then we go back and we go up that one. I know there's a lot of different ways to think about it. Okay, so we take the next one, we go behind it, and then we go down in front of the next peg. Maybe let's think of it as 3 pegs. How about that? Okay, so looking at it, imagining it's 3 pegs, right? So 1 peg, where our yarn is currently, 2 peg, 3 peg. We go behind 2 peg, come down in front, and go down through the loop on peg 3. And then we go up in the loop on peg 2. Okay, so maybe now this is peg 1, peg 2, peg 3. So we go behind peg 2 and down in the loop on peg 3. And then we go up in the loop on peg 2. Okay, now that's peg 1, peg 2, peg 3. Go behind peg 2, down into the loop on peg 3. So these are all just 3 different ways of explaining the same thing. Okay, and we're going to do this all the way around, and then I'll show you what we do when we're back at the beginning. Okay, so here we are. We're almost at the end. Now this is the first peg of the row, and this one's the last peg of the row. And you can mark these, and you can use color-coded pegs. Do whatever you like. Because these looms have reverse removable pegs, if you had multicolored pegs, you'd probably just have these alternate anyway, because it's a rib stitch, so you would know whether you needed to do a knit or a purl based on the color of the peg. But anyway, okay, so this is the first peg of the row. This is the last peg of the row. Here's our yarn. Okay, so we go behind, and then we go down. So we're just continuing this pattern, and we go up. And then we go behind that last peg, down into the first peg. And that's where we started. And that is where we end. So with this, you can just tie off your yarn however you like. I like to just go like that. And then this is ready to take off the loom. So just use your hook tool and work around, pull these all off, and then we will have a look and see how it looks. Alright, so here it is. It's just come off the loom. You can see that it's a little bit stretched out there, so we just give it a good stretch. And that evens it out as well. That makes it a much nicer edge. And you get quite a bit of stretch. Here we go. Look at that. That rib stitch is fully stretched out. I do feel like it's not maximum stretchiness, but that is dang good. That's good for a hat. It looks like a little strawberry shortcake hat.